Next, Kamala Harris says she is running to be president for all Americans. Her comments came during her first TV interview alongside her running mate Tim Walz on Thursday. Speaking to CNN, Harris vowed a tougher approach to migration along the US-Mexico border and also said she will not change Joe Biden's policy on arms for Israel. For more on what was discussed in that interview, our correspondent Fraser Jackson reports from Washington.
US Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz, her running mate for the Democratic ticket, sat down for their first interview since becoming the nominees. That's on Thursday night on CNN. And all eyes were on that interview. It's been billed up to be quite a big interview, considering that it's the first one that they've done. And they've come under a bit of fire for not talking to the media earlier. But it must be said, it was a bit of a nothing burger, really. We didn't hear anything new from Kamala Harris. Her policy shifts that have been the source of many of her criticisms. She said that ultimately the policy shifts, what matters is the fact that her values haven't changed. And when she was pushed on immigration, she once again brought up the bipartisan bill that was done under the Biden administration with the help of Republicans on the Hill, which was ultimately squashed by Donald Trump, who wanted to run on immigration as a campaign issue. So she said that she would re-dig up that bill and get it through Congress and sign it into law herself. Pressed on the border, she says we have laws that have to be followed and enforced that address and deal with people who cross our border illegally, and there should be consequences. That then going back on something she said a few years ago about decriminalizing the border. That was the question from CNN's Dana Bash. She also said that she, in this race, is the only person who's had 2 terms as the AG, the Attorney General of a border state in California, of course, where she prosecuted transnational gangs who dealt in drugs and people trafficking as well. She also said that she would have a Republican in her cabinet. She said that she thought America was best served when there was a diversity of opinions at the table, and that she would indeed have a Republican in her cabinet, but stopped short of saying who that was. On the foreign policy side, she mentioned the war in Gaza, ultimately taking the same line as Joe Biden, saying that Israel has a right and a responsibility to defend itself, but that we have to get a deal done. That was the quote from her on Thursday evening. She's also pushing for that 2-state solution to see the Palestinian people have the right to self-determination and dignity as well. She was also asked about Trump's comments about her race and ethnicity, to which she said, "It's the same old tired playbook. Next question, please." Donald Trump, before the interview aired, did actually speak about Kamala Harris's interview. He mocked her for having the interview take place at a cafe and sitting behind a table. He said that she didn't look like a leader. And this comes in the wake of Donald Trump as reposting some misogynistic pictures on his Truth social networks and Twitter networks, which received widespread backlash. But Donald Trump still saying that he believes Kamala Harris is not presidential and not the right person to win in November.